Almost a rapper there, that bang obey show, that bang obey yes, that bang obey you, that bang obey you, that bang obey Cusco, that bang, to name down my wound slow, 22, Emma 22, degrees 22, degrees 22, side chicks, the two who are the cheat, I'm two, my boo, the two shoes, vacation you choose, my men show catch no doll in the streets, so you're keep all in for you, I hand body, no corner do what you my violence, a first lady, I got you, we got me, whatever they say, it don't matter, we got we, I got you, maybe you got me, and whatever they say, it don't matter, we got we are love down, we are love down, we are love down, I will stay down, I'm a rapper. Last time, me post to Facebook, I'm a post when you do, Tina Chair, me broke love. Now me say now, don't go to phone. Don't na me need to don't pray you broke love. Broke by, now me telling the normal friend, me broken, me now for 7, my woody soakings. I will intellectual living with the body of a sleeping, no joking. You're 18 to pass, so name a question. We can love down.
Hey, Kwame!
Yes!
Charlie, what do you go?
Big bro!
Flippy chat!
Yes,
Charlie,
yes.
So you're original, you're knowledgeable, it's okay to chat with you.
Oh, thank you.
Describe yourself in 2 sentences.
In 2 sentences?
Yes.
I would say I am an elegant African. I am an intelligent, elegant African with a passion for development.
Okay, intelligent, elegant African with a passion for development. Why?
Because I think that is how I've been raised. My ethos is more towards positivity, more towards culture. It's more towards believing that we can do it. You can even see the trend of it through my songs. So I was very fortunate to have parents that believed that they can raise children to want more than their parents have. So very, very fortunate. My mom was a teacher, my father was an accountant, and I think they did an amazing job letting me believe in myself. So, and every time when I say myself, I don't just mean me as a microcosm of what I am, but a macrocosm of where I find myself as a Ghanaian, as a West African, as an African, and as a global citizen. I think that all of these things can become amazing if we manage it well.
We'll talk about your global citizenship and what you'll be doing in Scotland in a short while, but just let's take it back to the early days. Give us something interesting from your early days that we don't know.
That you don't know?
Yes.
I think that I was born dyslexic. So even when I was 10 years old, I couldn't say my ABCs or my 1, 2, 3. So I remember that I used to say M-U-N-O-P for M-N-O-P. You know, so my father was so, he was so troubled that he's very smart, but his son is not smart. So they were not able to diagnose that it was dyslexia and dyscalculia. So they became very afraid that I would grow up and become nothing.
Which one be dyscalculia?
Dyscalculia is the one that you are unable to calculate things.
Okay.
The mass phobia.
Okay.
You know, dyslexia is inability to read and understand. Dyscalculia is mass phobia.
Do you remember how it made you feel?
I remember I used to feel like trash because my mother would now take me to her friend who was called Mrs. Boama, my class 2 teacher, who hits me in the head every morning. Wabong, wabong, wabong. My mom was a teacher, you know, so she said, teacher, Niban wabong say, and I'll come home and I couldn't do my homework. And then, like at home too, I remember my mom used to call my uncle who is now in the US to come and beat me because my home. And when I cried, they would now beat me again, say me pay soon. You know, so I felt, growing up, I didn't have any confidence. But when I completed my O levels, this is in 92, and I had all my 9s, except Akan that I had 2. So there was this young man in my neighborhood called Lord Marcus. Lord Marcus was the only rapper in Kumasi at that time. This is 91, 90, you know. So I went to Lord, I said, teach me how to rap. And then he said, I want to see your O-level results. When he saw it, he said, we can't rap. Oh, you know, so, but then I pleaded with him. Then he said, you know what? I'm going to teach you how to rap. But rap is an intelligent game, because KRS won and everybody else who was rapping was really sharp. So he will give me a book, and then he will tell me to go and he will teach me one literary device, metaphor, alliteration. This one, and then he will say, read the book in 4 days, underline all the metaphors, underline all the personifications. So in a year, when I was getting ready to do my Second World War, Lord Marcus had introduced me to New York, Paris, London, Kenya. He introduced me to writers. He had introduced me to novels. He had introduced me to the world through the reading.
Is he still alive?
Lord Marcus is still alive. He teaches at a high school in the US.
Wow.
You know, so, and then he also had designed me as the best rapper to ever be. You know, so what my parents could not do, Lord Marcus used rap music to bring out of me. And from that time, I developed my confidence. I did my Second World War. I had 1.
From 9 to 1.
Yes, I went to my A-levels. I passed my A-levels, and then I was no longer afraid to stand in front of public and speak. Remember, when I was like 8, my mom used to say that, hey, Okyeame there, bro, for the audition, which means even if you digested English and put it in my mouth, I would still vomit it out. So the people who actually knew me from when I was a child, they used to, at the house that I grew up, they used to call me Kwame Mum.
Oh, because you couldn't talk.
Because I couldn't
Mum
talk.
Is like
exactly.
Wow.
You know, so it is really strange that because through rap music, a dyslexic, dyscalculous young man can become an intelligent, elegant African.
How old are you alive?
Everybody's alive.
The teacher who used to beat you?
I have not seen. I remember when I was about 7 years, I kicked her. You know, I remember her name clearly, Mrs. Boama, St. Joseph's. I kicked her, and then from that time, they took me out of her class. And I still know some of her daughters, some of her sons who are my friends.
Okay.
They are still in Kumasi.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you remember the first rap you wrote from Marcus's teaching?
Yes. It went like this. Cocaine is like cane that will bring you pain. Stop the drugs. It will lead you to rugs. Too much abortion causes abomination. Contraceptives, they say, are preventives. So when in boredom, use a condom. They call him Saddam because he's a dame. They call him Hussein because he's insane. He fought Iran and was made to run.
And this is like 30 years back.
Yeah, this is like 30 years
Phenomenal. Name 3 talents that brought you here. 3 talents.
3 talents. I think the first one is poetry. The second one, poetry, which is still rap. The second one will be my appreciation for music, and then the third one will be culture. So I think that the people are just born with a gift of the gap. It was only that fear had covered mine. But when I became who I have become, I realized that I have talent in understanding the etymology of language, especially the Akan language. It is a pure talent that I have.
You did that for your first degree?
I did that for my first degree.
Awesome.
Yes.
So poetry, music, culture.
Yes.
We'll touch on all these things in a short while. Small exercise for you. Complete this sentence. My destiny is?
Beautiful.
Your destiny is beautiful.
Yes.
Why do you say that?
Because I think that the nature of man is love. If the nature of man is God. And love is beautiful, even though it is momentarily. But what an amazing moment, you know. So I think that I am just full of love, and love is beautiful. That's why I say that.
You're doing so many interesting things. You're a musician, a composer, songwriter. You're also an ambassador, climate change ambassador.
Yes.
And that is going to take you to Scotland. We'll talk about that in a short while. But what's the most enjoyable thing about the things that you do now? You're a writer too.
Yes. About knowing that it's expressionism. Just waking up, having a thought, researching about it, putting it out there, and making sure that a lot of people are reading it, and it causing the trouble that I intend for it to cause. You know, like challenging the status quo. That fulfills my every desire in me to keep living. I think it is an amazing thing to have a voice. You know, it's really interesting.
And so the voice took you to rap and music, but it's also taking you to a book that you wrote with your wife.
Yes.
Loved Lockdown.
Yes.
Okay. How's that book doing?
It's doing great. It's doing great. I remember I spoke to you before I even wrote the book. You were the first person that I consulted, you know, and then you gave me a few tricks. Somewhere in the line, I will call you. You tell me, call this guy, call that guy, and through you, EPP Books is distributing my book. You know, so the book is doing great. They say that Ghanaians don't buy books. The Ghanaians don't read. Based on what is happening with my book, I disagree, because I think that the question should be more like, do Ghanaians sell books the way we sell the books? Because now every Saturday I'm at one of the malls, at a university or at an institution, doing free books, book signing, so people can do photo ops and come and have signed books, and the books are moving.
So some advice you can give to up and coming authors. They've got books, piles of them in their garages. They don't know how to sell it.
Yes.
What have you learned so far?
I mean, so far I can say Coca-Cola is the #1 brand in the world, but they still sell it. Every week there's a campaign. Open the cork, scratch here, do that. Even though everybody's drinking Coca-Cola.
Bottle top Kwame. You remember those bottles used to be called Ghanaian names? Kofi Kwame.
And you know, my agency worked on that campaign. Yes, so we worked on that day name campaign. So, and check this out. Everybody needs MTN credit, but still every week they are doing MTN credit. You know, so. And since we all know that people do not really have the time to read now, people are going more into audiobooks and things like that. I think that we need to have curated branding and marketing strategies or little plans for your book. So before you write your book, you need to know your audience. And now you know your audience, you need to know where they are. Now you know where they are, you need to know how they think. Now you know how they think, you need to know where to find them so that they will be able to grab your book. You know, so I think that once you are writing a book, don't just go into that creative space of just writing the book and then printing it with your last money, and then it's now going to be sitting at home collecting dust.
So know how to sell.
You know how to sell.
Know how to sell. Free advice, not just for books, but for music. Anything, even yourself. If you're trying to brand yourself, you want to be talking to Kwame, Kwame. Most challenging thing about your job or the jobs that you do? Most challenging.
Most challenging thing is for me as a musician performing for 24 years is the changing trends. So sometimes as an artist you lead the trends, sometimes there are other trends that are leading you, so you either adapt to the changing trends or you try your best to use your demand and supply techniques to lead the trend. Break it down. So what I mean is that sometimes, for example, I am predominantly hip life artist, which means I fuse high life music and hip hop music with high life choruses and hip hop raps. But it gets to a point that people like trap. You know, they like Asaka. So how do you now?
Tell me Asaka. Give me the rhythm.
Asaka
give me the rhythm. Okay. You don't rap on that, right?
Exactly. The rap is easy, but now because it is predominantly being perpetuated by young people, 20, 19, 18. As a 45-year-old man, immediately I jump on that beat. People are thinking, oh, he has come to steal the shine, and then now I need to stay in my lane and create the music that people have already known me for. Then they say it's boring. You know, so it is very difficult to manage the gray areas between following the trends and leading the trends.
So that's a challenge.
That is a challenge. That is an ongoing. And sometimes when I rap this way, they say, "Chami, we miss your old rap," and then I give them the old rap. They say, "Do something new."
You just be yourself, right?
I know.
Just be yourself.
Just be yourself. And you know that equity is of the customer. So even though you are being yourself, it is imperative that you understand the audience as well. So, but it's a beautiful challenge.
The one what everybody will want to have. You know, you should join us. This is hashtag GTV Breakfast. Use that in all your posts on social media. Hashtag GTV Breakfast. I'm here with Okyeame Kwame. If you haven't followed him yet, you are one of the few people I know who have not done so. You can do that right now. Okay, Kwame, you've gone from rap to you're singing. You're doing all kinds of things. Are there other additional skills that you think you need in your work?
Yes.
What other skills do you think you need?
You know, in 2006, I went back to Tech to study Akan and sociology, and I did music for 2 years under Ejako Nimo's tutelage. And then later, I've come to do a master's degree in marketing strategy. Now, but I see that the trajectory of my life pattern is going more towards development. So I think I should do a PhD in music and development. You know, find a blend there so I can understand and become more impactful. But apart from that, I have things. I know how to do a lot of things that I've not done yet. For example, painting, sculpture, all those things. I think I need to do that. So the other time my wife was asking me, what are you going to do next? I said, I don't know, 2022, maybe I'll do my first art exhibition.
Why not?
You know,
you look very artistic, put together and nicely.
Thank you. So
why not?
I think I want to die empty.
Okay.
I want that when I die, there's nothing in my head, because it will be a shame. I wrote a song last week that I'm going to record. The song is called Your Bar.
Sing something. Just the chorus. Just the chorus.
No, it says, "Minina Mayor MP, Your Bar." So I'm talking to my daughter, and then she's the one speaking. Minina Mayor MP, Miss Your Bar. Me pese me skepi, Your Bar. Me pese me wario, Your Bar. Me pese me ye carpenter, Your Bar. So I'm talking to my daughter about things that women want to do, but men are consistently telling them, you are a woman, you can't do that.
Okay.
You know, so if I do not record, because I know when I release this song, it's going to cause a lot of trouble.
This is the first time airplay, right?
Yes, the first time. And going to cause a lot of trouble and bring a lot of conversations about feminism and uprising. But if I should die tomorrow, that means that song is in my head.
So it's
Exactly.
Do you record at home? Do you do your sketches at home and everything?
I do sketches at home.
Okay.
I do sketches. So this one, I have a sketch of it on my phone. You know, I did something small with my my songwriter. You know, so it's on my phone.
What's your motivation?
My motivation is love again. It's love again. I get worried how the society, through religion and tradition and culture, packs veils of false identity on the love that children are gifted with, to the point that we grow up and we are unable to have that personal touch with the I. So my motivation now is to use every single ounce of energy in me to unveil that through my music, through my activities, through my writing, through my poetry, so that people will know who they are. That's where I'm at right now.
A lot of that energy is channeled into your Sunday reflections, because in case you don't know, on Sundays it's like a revolution on Facebook, because Okyeame Kwame goes and writes long stuff and then he engages with people. It's not just post and go, post and engage. The one which has received the highest traction had to do with polygamy.
Yes.
So yes, you are monogamous.
Yes,
why were you asking questions about polygamy?
Because of I think I don't like tags, but one tag that I will happily embrace is feminism. I think I'm a feminist, and I do not like the fact that society over the years tries to push polygamy down the woman's throat, even though she still keeps spitting it out. And then we consistently say, accept it. Abraham did it, Buddha did it, this one did it, that one did it, so you should accept it. And that for a woman to even think of alone dating someone else while she is in a relationship, there are laws in our society that she must be stoned or called a shawu or things like that. I can't stand it, you know, because the whole idea of falling in love with yourself comes back to empathy. And once you have empathy, you have fellow feeling. So I talk about polygamy like that to bring the conversation up so that we will liberate our women.
Why do you think that post had so much engagement?
Because people did not agree with me.
Mostly men or women?
Mostly men. You
Mostly
could see
guys.
that the women came to agree and the men were disagreeing. That so my whole conclusion was that polygamy is great. Let us all indulge, but let us also give the women the chance to also marry twice if they are successful.
So polyandry.
Exactly, and that is the thing that the
men say no.
The men say no. But how are we going to tell whether what if there are children in it? How I say DNA
test.
Exactly.
DNA.
You know, so you can see that men can dish, but we can't take. It's the same philosophy of the butcher fearing the knife.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess it's the way we are also made. I mean, men give and women receive. So,
really?
Well, I guess. But I can see why. I can see why the men were against what you're saying and why the women were supporting. But it's interesting. So watch out for more of his reflections on Sunday. Couple of quick questions before we talk about Scotland. I know you are proudly made in Ghana
100%.
product. But what have you learned from other cultures?
A lot. I've learned a lot, especially when I went to the US. I remember that other cultures are intentional about their culture. Ours is through recurring patterns. But if you go to a place like America and take, let's say, the urban Black American hip hop culture, it is curated from politics to business to society, coming down to the fan. Every single dimension of that culture is programmed by probably an anthropologist or a group of PhD anthropologists sitting down with the practitioners and deciding and plotting this, that we are. But for us as Ghanaians or mostly Africans, our culture happens instantly. It is adaptive. It is through recurring patterns. Another thing that I've seen about especially Western cultures is that it is more about rights. Our culture is about responsibility. So you can put 200 women at Makola to sell foods and they will never fight. Or even if they fight, it's just a few, because everybody is responsible for each other. The society is sort of Ubuntu. But if you go to New York, you put 3 people to stand and do the same thing, someone will draw a gun, because it's about my rights. So I realized that our African culture is more about responsibility, and European culture is more about rights. Another thing that I've learned about past African cultures is the concept of ma'at, which is built on love. You know, when I can't have something that we say, break
it down for me in
I say that a lot of people are particular about the one with a feathered hat.
Okay.
You know, when I was a kid, I used to think that it means people like the person dressed colorfully, or the king, or the one who is in front. But entakrache in philosophy represents holiness. It represents principles. It represents ma'at. So at that time, every child, when whilst you are growing, in the evening, you have to recite the 42 confessions of ma'at. This is the African culture, where you say, I have not stolen, I have not taken from a god, I have not beaten someone, I have not broken a heart, I have not, this 42. And once you die, you are going to recite these very, very 42 confessions to an angel, and they will weigh your sins against the feather on the scale. If your sins are heavier than that of a feather, then you sort of,
you're gone.
You'll be devoured. But if your sins are lighter, then you go to Asamado or heaven. So this idea of ma'at is what has filled the African for like 14,000 years to be able to become responsible for others. So our philosophy or our culture is more built on responsibility and not rights.
Hey, so those are a couple of things you have learned from other cultures.
Yes.
You're still learning, I can see.
Yes, I'm still learning.
You love it, or it's because of work?
No, not because of work. I love it. I wake up every day between 4:30 and 6 to read at least 2 hours before I get up and go to work. Anything. When I wake up, I read anything I get my hands on, from the Harvard Business Review to the Daily Graphic to a post on social media. I spend 2 hours every morning rebuilding my thought process before I move.
And keeping the cells working.
Yes.
Because if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yes, it's true.
And so on my way here, I was wondering, since I'm going to be playing something with Okyeame Kwame, what key is Love Locked Down in? And so I listened to it, and then I held the key in my note in my head until I got it. When I got it, the first thing I did was I hit the keyboard just to find out. And I love the song.
Thank you.
Why did you go with Adina on that song? I've seen the video is on YouTube.
Yes,
pretty well.
It is. Yeah. Thank you. Adina, because I don't know if you've seen, I've been on a tangent of making music with women with amazing voices. I've done with Raquel, with Efia for White Wedding. I've done Betha for Faithful, Ebony for, so I love making music with women. Why? Because I love women. And 2, because rap music is really boring sometimes when it is a long speech of 30-something bars of punchlines and literary devices. Exactly. So at a point, silence is the basis of all sound. So at the point, all the sound must cease for us to experience the feminine energy.
Okay.
Yes.
So on that note, let's experience some feminine energy. This is the new one.
Yes.
Brand new. Introduce your own song.
Okay, so this is Love Lockdown. Which one is my camera? This is Love Lockdown. It's available on YouTube. Go and watch it. And then in this video, it's just Adina and I, and we are using the nature as the element. So the predicament in the story will be given by the sea, the thunder, lightning, rain, and things like that. So please enjoy Adina and myself. This video is one of my favorite videos. No, it's my favorite video shot by Abraham Ohinijan. So enjoy it. From that town, Adina. Na sema ngwarwa enka minyobia omo see me nido so be share me homa enso Ethiopia.
They say they will say that I told you so. Nanso Ethiopia. Obeye oboni epipa when him miss you.
Go and check it out on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, and let money come home. You know, lock it down. All right. Top questions are coming in. Plenty. Good work, part of you and the entire team. Okyeame speaks good. This is Oti Brofo. That's Ajua. Okay. Kindly ask Okyeame Kwame to come to Cape Coast for the book signing too. Is that a plan? Is there a plan to go to Cape Coast?
Yes, we'll go to Cape Coast.
Okay.
We'll go to Cape Coast before December.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow, the evolving musician is that which I call him, Okyeame Kwame. Please, I'm now 35 years old, and since '96, I've followed this champ as well as one DJ and a Dusty. My question this morning to my boss, Okyeame, is how old are you? This is from Menahanta Franco Bab of New Edibisi.
I'm 45 years old. I'll be 46 in a few months.
Nice one.
Yes.
So let them come 055-556-1034. We're going to Scotland in a short while because you're going to be rolling with all kinds of big people, world leaders and things. And it's all about CC. But you have a book also to give away for our viewers. Choose a question for them so that they can get the book.
So where can you get this book to buy?
And you said it in your intro.
Yes.
So if you were listening, you would know. If not, stop the feed and go back to the beginning. All right. Where can you get Love Lockdown? Show it to them so they know what to look for. Yes.
This is it.
Yes, that's the book.
Love Lockdown. It's actually two books in one. So this is book one.
And then it's book
two.
Then book two. All right. Where can you find the book? Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let us know on WhatsApp, and before the show is over, one of you is winning the book. Is there any question you haven't asked of yourself?
Well, there's a question I've been asking of myself that there's only one question that I don't have an answer for.
Okay.
Only one.
What is it?
which is where do we go when we die?
I've been thinking about that a lot myself. You know, I've been thinking about that a lot myself.
Yes.
Because of my loved ones that I have lost.
Yes.
And I'm wondering sometimes, hey, how are they hanging? Do I get to meet them? Why do you think that answer has been hidden from us?
I think it's because you need to die to find out.
That's the whole thing, man.
That's it. So, but I think that my idea is that since quantum physics says we are energy and energy cannot be destroyed, but it can only transform.
Yeah.
With this body of ours, it's not who we are. Exactly. Because the personality us.
It's not the body.
Yes, it's not the body. Because this is just banana, kwedu, and goat meat and things.
Yeah.
You know, so, and since the I cannot really die, once we lose this body, not our life, once you lose this body, then if you did good, then probably your energy or the I will go back to the good side of the source creator. That is what I think.
And then if you did bad,
it could go into the bad side of the source,
which is where we don't want to go.
Exactly. You know, so I've been looking at it from religious perspectives. The Christians say heaven, the Akans say nsamando. You know what that
is. If you break it down, what does that mean?
And so the Akans will look at life from two perspectives: the living and the dead. You know, we are all equally important. The living, we live under the sun, which is a reyase. You know, where we are
under the sun.
Under the sun, where we are under sama, which means Abda Eda means day, Sa means finish, Ma means children. So we are the children of the limited days. But when we die, we go to Nsa Mando, which means the place where the days never sun. Do means place, Nsa means never. Mine means country or you know a place. So Nsa Mando means the place where the days never finish. Eternity. Yeah. You know, so we are Adasama going to eternity. So sort of this is like a pathway to
limitless life.
And the Buddhists have their own. Every society has their own idea of where we are going. And I think that people must be given the opportunity to explore it within themselves. And within me, I am more with the quantum physics, energy never to be destroyed, to be transformed idea.
How do you transmit these concepts to your children and to your wife?
Good question. Because, you know, my wife is very religious.
Yes.
She's a Jehovah's Witness, you know, so they are strict on we are going to heaven, we are going to paradise. And as though they know, they give it to their children as truths. So especially in that area, I try my best not to give them anything. I want them to grow up to find out whether the imaginative projections are parts of truths, you know. So I don't go there. However, I tell them my truths, and I tell them these are my truths. If it doesn't stand the test of time and is mutable, if it is not it cannot be muted, then it could be true, you know. So, but I want them to grow up and find their own truth.
Are you what kind of daddy are you?
I am the type of daddy that think that beating children is barbaric.
Have you ever beaten any of your children?
Yes, a long time ago, maybe before 5 years ago.
We're on the same page.
But you think it is barbaric?
Yes, but I beat them long ago.
A long time
I haven't
ago.
done it in a long time.
Exactly.
Now we vibe.
Yes, because I think the nature of man is love, and the opposite of love is not hate, it is fear. So let's come back to why are we beating the children? Because we are afraid they did not listen to us, therefore they won't listen to us again. And we are afraid they will end up rotten because they are not listening to us. But we are not God. You know, so we can't decide that because they did not listen to us and become an accountant or become a footballer, therefore they will fail. Because these children are not ours, they just came through us. You know, so I think that it is fear that gets us to beat our children. And if we are doing anything in fear, that thing will never stand. It is the things we do in love. However, fear has sort of a very harsh, quick energy that solves problems quickly, but in the short run. So fear can do exactly what love can do in a short run, but love will take a long time. And that is the time that parents don't have to sit down with our children and vibe with them and meditate with them to the why.
So more time to chill with the children and ask them questions and listen to them as well.
Yes.
Are your wife and children under pressure to be Okyeame Kwame's perfect family?
I wouldn't know. I have not.
Please ask them. When
I have not asked them. However, based on the way I am curating my family values and I don't think there's any pressure in my home. Pressure is what I do not like in my home, because pressure is the thing that causes anxiety and depression. And I don't want my children to grow up with any psychological fear, because pressure is fear. And I can say it based on what I see and the way I manage my home. There should be no pressure.
How do you relax when there's pressure?
Right now, I am on pressure.
You don't get pressure now?
I can't get pressure. Yeah, because I realize that I'm living in the moment. That's why I said I'm living. Love is a very quick moment. But what a moment. So if you are living with total love,
no pressure.
There should be no pressure. What is happening? So I released a song, it didn't hit. It didn't get 1 million views. So what?
Let's go on.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do
another song.
Exactly. Or my wife spoke to me somehow when my workers were around, so I feel disrespect. No, I have gotten to a place where I have come to understand my ego. I know the place of my ego, and I have shown my ego how to find love expression, because like I always say, energy goes where attention goes.
Okay, so don't put attention on things you don't want it to go.
At all.
Talking of going, you'll be going to Scotland.
Yes.
And this is all about the COP26 conversations on climate change.
Yes.
The ordinary Ghanaian climate change says, which kind of climate change? Why are you a climate change ambassador, and why do you think the conversations are not that deep in our system?
I think it's because, one, our leaders, which is not just Nanado and MPs and ministers, you and I too, our leaders, or we the leaders, we have not made it a conscious effort to disseminate the conversation to the grassroots.
Okay.
That is one. And the way we teach climate change in the schools, we teach it as though it's something that is happening in Antarctica, something that's happening in Amazon, something happening at Chad, something happening at with some river.
How is it touching us in Ghana?
How is it touching? So the UN scientists say that in the next 7 years, if we don't change our lifestyle and mitigate against some of it, we are going to increase temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius. What it will mean is that the land, the Ghana land that we have, will no longer be arable for cocoa farming, and productivity will reduce by 54%. And then I have been a climate change ambassador for at least 5 years. I've visited about 54 communities in Jomoro, Western region, parts of Northern region. It is real. If once you drive by, you see what the JMC has done.
Yeah, we were in Western region a couple of weeks ago. We
exactly.
Saw it.
The cocoa belt used to start at the Northern region. Now it's been reduced to like Samare Boy, down Ashanti coming, so you can see that the land is no longer as fertile as it used to be because of climate change.
What can we do?
What we can do, like really simple things. If you live in, say, my village, and you want to eat kusi, don't burn a whole village. Don't burn a whole farm
for one
kusi. Take 2 minutes to read. Go online to check out what exact tire pressure are you supposed to give your tire so that your car will become energy efficient. Simple things like that. Let us cut down on how much meat we eat, because livestock farming alone contributes to 18% of carbon emissions.
On that note, are you a vegetarian?
Yes, I'm a vegetarian.
Since
1st January.
Of this year?
Yes.
How's it going? How's a meat-free thing going?
It's amazing. Now I feel like a spirit.
You're flying.
I'm floating.
So what do you eat in place of meat?
And I eat beans. I eat tofu. I eat a lot of mushrooms. I eat cauliflower. I eat a lot of. You see, almost all the animals that we eat for protein, they are vegetarian.
Yeah, vegetarian. So
what do they eat?
We just follow them.
So basically.
So that's it. So you're contributing your part. When do you get to Scotland?
So I'll be in Scotland. Maybe I'll live in Ghana on the 4th. The president and other delegates are going on the 1st. I'll live on the 4th. There's an event happening on the seas that I should be a part of, and I have a few meetings. Okay. So I'm going on 2 accords. I'm going with the Ghana delegation, and I'm also going as a climate clock ambassador.
Okay.
And as a climate clock ambassador, we are going to do advocacy. The Europeans promised to give countries like Ghana $100 billion as climate reparation and for climate justice, because we in Africa, we contribute only 4.1%.
But
and the rest is there. And then check this out. Ghana just found out fossil fuel. And now they say we should forget about fossil fuel because it's the energy of death. So how are we going to now forget our fossil fuel and still pay school fees and do all the things that the government is supposed to do? So we are going to Glasgow from Climate Club for advocacy.
Okay.
But I'm going with Ghana. Ghana for the first time we have a pavilion. You know, so I'm going to use my star power to bring a lot of people who do a poetry, who showcase Ghanaian things that are technology, you know, and things like that. We do music for the last day, you know, things like that. So I'm going to bring a lot of attention to the Ghana pavilion.
I ask for only one thing from you. Bring a kilt.
A kilt?
Yes, a Scottish skirt.
Would you wear it without boxers?
No, I'll wear it for the set without boxers. It's a challenge. Charlie, catch this for me. I'll wear it without boxes. Don't open it yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, quick questions before we go. If money were not a problem, complete. If money were not a problem for you, what would you do?
Money. I would never tell a lie again.
Charlie, without money, man defeat the tell lies.
Yes. You know? Money can let the most honest person
Charlie,
lie.
I'm thinking about that feather in the seats when you die.
I'm telling you, yes, they're my art.
If money were not a problem, you would not tell a lie.
Yes.
Like, who's your biggest competition?
I have none. I am my biggest competition because I am my own opposition. It is so within me, like Christ said, a house will not stand if it's divided within. So within me, my subconscious and my consciousness, that is the biggest competition. My subconscious, which is my animalistic instincts, my habits, and all the things I've inherited from my four grandfathers, wants to cheat, wants to steal, wants to lie, is selfish, is egotistic, against my conscious nature, as in do good, support this, that. You know, that is my biggest competition. So I want to get to a point where I can sort of understand my subconscious a little more.
Okay. What would Okyeame Kwame at 8 years old be saying to you now?
At 8 years?
Yes.
He'll be telling me, don't cry, don't be afraid, you will be fine. Okay.
And then Okyeame Kwame at 80, what would he be saying?
He will probably be saying, why didn't you make more music?
Open the jar. It's a random question. Just pick anyone. Read the question and then answer it yourself.
Who is the smartest person you know? Dr. Posechire Nyantechi.
Who is he?
He is the CEO of Lancet, MDS Lancet Laboratory. He's a pathologist, and at Lancet, his quality index is 100. He's ISO certified, and sometimes he gets as much as 98% for his ISO certification.
Wow.
Yes, he's the one that sponsors my hepatitis B campaign, sponsored for 12 years, and I've worked with him year by year for 12 years. I tell you, this man, his work ethic, Dr. Posechire Nyantechi.
I had to go look for him.
Yes.
Since I like the response, pick another one before we go. No, take it out. Don't. When you pick it, take it. Yeah. We don't repeat questions.
Okay. If you could transport yourself at will between any two destinations, which would you choose?
Okay. So if you could just move from destination to destination, where would you go? To destination.
If I could just move.
Yes. At will. Just think I want to be.
Right now, I will go to a pre-COP meeting with Nanado and the Minister of MST and the EPA people. Try to find out how they are going to deal with COP26, especially if, because I know that they are going to ask Ghana to stop mining our fossil fuel. And I want to know
what they are going to say.
What they are going to say. And then after they've gone to say and sign those treaties, what they will come back and do, what the plan is.
I like that. You can close the jar now. We're about to end this conversation. The question again for the book before we go, and I ask you my last question. The question is, where can you find Love Locked Down? Is there anything you want to say before I ask you my last question?
Yes, I just want to say that, please, when we are going up for, at least for boys, they tell us boys will be boys. You have to be strong. You have to do this. They tell us all those things, and then it sorts of shatters who we are. So parents, please, watch the type of things that we tell our children. That's one. And then also, if you're a child and you were as lost as I was when I was growing up, there is hope for you. Keep searching.
Last question. Imagine today is the last day of your life, a very successful life. What would your family be saying and celebrating about you?
I don't know. I think that my mom will be proud because she's always telling me she's so proud of me. I think my wife will cry. She will miss me. My daughter will be strong. My son could be devastated. My brothers will say he was troublesome. We told him to stop the trouble. I think Ghana will cry. But what I will wish for everybody who loves me is that to live means to die. The whole idea of living is the same as dying. You know, so if we die, nothing changes. Not a speck, nothing changes. We live, so we die. So when I die, please take the good things I did and continue. The bad things I did, trumpet it, let the people know, so that children will not make my mistakes.
Thank you very much, man.
You're welcome.
Okyeame Kwame, it's always great to talk to him. He's original, he's knowledgeable, and it's always okay to chat with him. One love.
Thank you, Big Boo.
Yes, man. GTV Breakfast continues. We've got some dancing in the house. You don't want to miss it, man. Serious dancing.